Welcome to Cubs Talk. This is David. Thanks for checking out the channel. Love to hear you guys' thoughts and questions. Definitely write those, and I can answer any questions, and we can kind of have a dialogue. Um, big injury. Pedro Strop. Um, he should have never been injured in the first place. Um, Maddon was going to ask him to go back out there and basically pitch 3 innings. Um, Even when had Pedro Strop bat, um, I wasn't second guessing. I was first guessing. I didn't like it, not because I thought he was going to pull his hamstring there, but because I thought that he was already at 20 pitches. A lot of times when you close the game out, you're going to have to throw at least 10 to 20 pitches. So that's around 40 pitches right there, and 40 pitches. That's a lot. You could get hurt there, or even if you don't get hurt, that's really gonna take a toll on you down the season. And it wasn't if it's Game 7 of the World Series, I definitely get that. It makes sense. Or even just a playoff series. Hey, it's a must win. But I know the Brewers are breathing down the Cubs' necks, but you have to trust your other guys in the bullpen. You can't ask your closer to pitch 40 pitches and um, in the middle of September, because you can get him hurt. And so with uh, Maddon's recklessness, it was only a matter of time before he got hurt. And I don't blame Maddon for him pulling his hamstring when batting. If he'd only pitched 10 pitches and only 2/3 of an inning, okay, hey, yeah, have him bat and send him back out there. But when you have a chance to tack on runs, um, and your closer has already pitched over 20 pitches in multiple innings, it makes complete sense to pitch hit for him there. That's reckless, and not again, not the pulled hamstring, because that's kind of an unforeseen thing, but he easily could have hurt himself in that game from pitching too much, or just wearing down from that many pitches. And then too, just, I mean, even if he got through it, he wouldn't have been able um, to pitch for another 3 days, because he would have needed to recover. It's like, definitely, Rosario. I mean, obviously he's not your first choice, but he's a capable pitcher, and he got the save. But now going forward, it's as much as I want to keep dwelling on it. We're gonna have to move on here. Um, but hopefully the one silver lining is that if Strop can come back playoff time, if he can be Wolverine and heal quickly here, and then Morrow comes back at any degree, and then during this time, Maddon's gonna have to trust some other guys, and if they can come through, then come playoff time, maybe you have Morrow, you have Strop, and then you have Cishek, and you have Edwards, and then you have a couple new guys that he's gonna have to trust here now, and hopefully if they can, um, answer the call and they can pitch well, Maddon's gonna have an extra guy to call and come playoff time. So that's kind of the silver lining I'm trying to find here. But great win today. Cubs win 3-2. Um, so I mean that's huge, especially just kind of just being depressed about Pedro Strop and everything. Really kind of being bummed about that. And then the bullpen, they were able to, the lesser guys were able to be effective. Maples and De La Rosa, and Garcia even. I'm still not necessarily his biggest fan, but he came through today. Um, so I mean, this is gonna be a great opportunity for some guys to show what they can do, and that could really pay dividends hopefully in the playoffs here, and hopefully we can get Stroke back. I think Joe Maddon's a great manager. I mean, you look at his first 3 years, we made the playoffs every year, NLCS every year. So he's a great manager. He's good at keeping guys fresh late. But my one criticism of him is the pitching staff. I mean, you look at Game 7 of the World Series, or even Game 6. of the World Series, having Chapman. Um, it was a blowout, and he was still having Chapman pitch, and he was, fatigued for Game 7. Um, and Maddon was like, well, you know, you have to win Game 6 before you get to Game 7. I'm all in on Game 6. I get that, but in a blowout, you have to trust your other guys, and if you don't trust, and that was the thing. And then with Game 7, he doesn't trust his bullpen other than Chapman, but yet he pulls Hendricks early when Hendricks was pitching pretty well. Um, and you know, each reliever that you go to, if one of them has a bad night, you know, then you could be in trouble. So you need to ride the starter as long as you can if he's pitching well. And so game. I mean, all you Cubs fans know, Maddon Maddon kind of panicked in Game 7 of the World Series, even though we won. But yeah, with the pitching staff, this year, he's a great manager, except for the pitching staff. You look what happened with Pedro Strop. Most managers would not do that when his closers pitched, over 20 pitches, multiple innings. He's gonna pitch it for him there. It's not a do or die game. You got to look to the next day. Trust your other guys. So Maddon frustrates me with the pitching staff, and there's some days where I, kind of want him to get fired, but he's a good manager, But hopefully, I don't know, Epstein can kind of talk some sense into him about the pitching staff, and maybe the pitching coach can kind of maybe take over more responsibility. But Maddon is a good manager, even though sometimes he wants me to, I don't know, just wants me to pull my hair out or something. But yeah, I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. Write a comment. Just kind of what's your thoughts on Joe Maddon and the Pedro Strop situation. And two, just kind of what your thoughts on relievers. Who should be the closer by committee. Are you excited that maybe we can get some new set of guys, and then Strop comes back, and we have some new guys to use. Kind of what are your guys' thoughts? So great win today. Cubs win, fly the W. All right, you guys have a good night, and I'll talk to you guys later.